Hello again. I didn't get any comments of please stop. I'm bored. So maybe there's no ignoble fans out there, or I'm not boring anybody to death. I've been working my way around getting these whoa, first roots twisted up a little bit, because if I don't start doing them now, I will not be able to do them later. And things are going pretty good so far. Like I said, there's not a lot of choices to make things the same but different, or pattern but not pattern. And this one right here is the one I'm working on now. So I go look at the last two I did and say, yeah, let's try and do something different. And I know it's hard to see. It's hard for me to see them too. But I look at those two, and I come over to this one. I say, gosh, the way they're sitting right now, I could, just put a couple bends in there, and the way they're sitting right now, it doesn't look like either of the last two. But what else are my choices? What do I have going on here? Of course, there's one. Get those eye pokers out of the way. What we got going on here? So it looks like I got a 6, a 4, and a 4. And for no reason in particular, I'm thinking that this one down here needs to come up. So we'll do that. Pokey pokey. And in the last video, I was starting to talk about my being a science cheerleader, being interested in science, and then kind of eventually realizing that some of the way we use science can actually hurt us more than benefit us sometimes. We seem to just keep getting it wrong somehow, and making things that at first seem to be a good thing, but later they turn out to be a bad thing. And there's many examples of this. One of the latest ones are the neonicotinoid that we're spraying on plants to keep the insects that we don't like from eating them. And they started killing off a lot of bees, mainly because people were applying them the wrong way at the wrong time. So I mean, the scientists, they knew how to use them right, and they say, hey, you got to spray this at this time, and not at this other time, because you might kill some bees. And then of course somebody out there's got a bunch of fruit trees, and they say, uh-oh, I got a bug problem, I'm going to spray this stuff now, because if they lose their crop, they're going to go broke. So they don't really follow the instructions. And whoops, I killed a bunch of bees. I even read one thing where a person sprayed a bunch of this neonicotinoid stuff on a tree because they thought it would help with the fungal disease, and that's not even what the product is made for, and they killed a whole lot of bees. And people were mad at them because they just did something totally dumb. So there's a lot of examples out there that are well documented. But I got one today that I don't think is well documented. And I'm not 100% right on this. Well, I'm not sure I'm 100% right on this. But I think somebody should do a study to find out if maybe I am. You say, well, why don't you do the study? And it's like, well, I can't afford to do the study, number one. If I had a bunch of extra money, I just might. But we've had an explosion in the past 10 years here in the United States of obesity and type 2 diabetes. And I have some friends that are overweight. I don't have any friends who have diabetes. But the idea that I'm proposing is that all these artificial sweeteners that we have, and they're in an awful lot of foods these days, might be one of the causes of the obesity and type 2 diabetes. Now, you might be saying, well, wait a second, these artificial sweeteners, they really don't have any calories. You go on the Mayo site and you look, artificial sweeteners and diabetes, they say, well, you know, these artificial sweeteners are a good thing for diabetics because they help them manage their blood sugars. They can get this sweet taste that everybody loves and not get any sugars or calories, so they makes their calculations for blood sugar easier, and I think it's a good thing. And I actually think these artificial sweeteners are causing the diabetes and explosion of obesity. And the reason for this is your body needs to have somewhat of a running total of the sugars it takes in, because it's just a necessary thing. The body has to determine that. It wants to know how many calories am I taking in? Do I need to store calories away as fat? Do I have extra calories? Am I calorie deficient? Do I need to go find a rich source of calories so I don't fall over dead? And one of the ways the body does this, I would think, is it listens to the tongue. That's where the food first makes contact with the body. And in your digestive system uses different enzymes to break down different types of food. The enzymes that digest vegetables and the enzymes that digest meat are not the same thing. Your body needs to do different things. And the body really likes sugar because it's easy to turn into energy. It doesn't take a lot of energy to use the sugar. So it thinks sugar is really great for quick energy, and it is. But when you eat foods that contain artificial sweeteners, especially the ones that have very few calories, your tongue says to your body, ooh, we're getting a bunch of sugar here. And it either wants to use that right away because it needs it, or it wants to store it away for later use because it has enough sugars in the bloodstream to do what it does. And when you constantly fool your body by eating these artificial sweeteners. Your body gets kind of messed up because time after time your tongue's telling your brain, hey, we got sugar. And then your brain tells your pancreas, you got to do your thing. We got a bunch of sugar coming in. Got to regulate this. And so your pancreas starts doing its thing. But the sugar's not there. And sooner or later the body is like, whoa, wait, what happened to all that sugar we ate? Where did it go? Who stole our sugar? And I think that over time, what happens with these artificial sweeteners is you keep doing that to your body, and eventually your body tries to deal with this fact. And I think one of the ways it does that is it just says, hey, you know, the tongue keeps messing up on this. It keeps telling us we're getting all these calories and we're not. So we gotta store stuff because we can't rely on the tongue here. And if we keep burning these calories when we're not actually taking in calories, the brain here is like, hey, you know, I could run out of glucose and that's really not good for me. So we need to store stuff away because we don't know how bad this problem's going to get. And that's really the only way that the body has to really make sure, hey, I'm getting enough calories. Because, you know, if it stores them away, and the tongue really messes up, and, you know, it says, we took in 850 calories here of sugar, but we didn't, actually. The body can use those reserves to keep you from falling over dead. So yeah, that's the way I think maybe these fake sugars aren't such a good thing. And plus it seems like, you know, I've watched a lot of my friends over the years, and it seems like some of them, they start gaining a little weight and they get worried, so they, you know, start drinking the diet soda and using the fake sugars in their coffee and all that. But it doesn't seem to help. They actually start to get heavier faster, it seems. So I haven't you know, spent a great deal of time studying this. It's just one of those things, since I don't watch too much television, I can have time to ponder on this stuff. So it's just one of the things I'm thinking. These fake sugars might actually be responsible for all. Well, not all, I suppose, but they might be a large contributing factor to the obesity and type 2 diabetes that seem to be an increasing problem here in the United States. It's funny, even people who come here from other countries, apparently there's a problem where there's not an obesity epidemic. They come over here and all of a sudden they start getting heavy. And I think it's safe to say that the United States is probably the largest user of the fake sugars, as I'd like to call them. So if there's any diabetics out here in my audience that are dealing with that, number one, dang, I feel sorry for you. It seems like a really tough problem to deal with. And if you're eating those fake sugars, maybe go without them for a while and just see what happens to your blood sugar. Does it become easier to manage or harder? I haven't seen anybody studying this, so, but once again, I haven't spent I could search on the internet for hours, but the last one I saw was, from the Mayo Clinic. They said, oh, no, the fake sugars are a good thing for diabetics. The other thing that I think is weird about those fake sugars is, I don't know, for me, they really don't taste right. Every once in a while, somebody at a drive-thru will end up giving you a diet soda when you didn't order one. And I can't drink those. I pour them out on the cement because they just taste nasty. My tongue is like, no way, that is bad for you. And like I said earlier, who knows, I could be completely off on this because I haven't really studied it. And I don't know as much about the human endocrine system as it relates to diabetes as the folks that are out there making it their life's work to study it. But I think that sooner or later, time will, somebody will end up studying it, and we'll see if I'm right. A long time ago, a lot of my friends were having their first kids. I would tell them, hey, once your kids are, been around for 5, 6, 7 months or something, be sure you feed them a little dirt. And not just any dirt, you got to find the good dirt. Like if you got a garden out there, and you're growing veggies and stuff, just mix in a really little amount of dirt in their food every once in a while. They'd be like, you're nuts, that's crazy, I'm not gonna feed my kid dirt. But then I said to him, when your child is that young, that's when their body is learning to react to everything it's going to encounter. And that's a really critical time, not only for child learning and stuff like that, but also for the development of the endocrine and the immune system and all kinds of stuff. And if you don't expose all those systems to the things that they are inevitably going to encounter when they're young, they don't learn how to deal with it. And I don't think very many of them ever fed their kids dirt. I asked a few of them, and a couple of them said, yeah, actually I did mix in a little dirt from the garden in their food once in a while. But studies eventually did come out that said it's kind of necessary to feed your kids some dirt. And I don't, have those studies off the top of my head, but if you go hit the Google, you'll find them. So, I was kind of right there. And then, it even kind of makes sense from the standpoint of there's a a thing, what's the name for it? The, I'm looking for a word. No, not allegory. But there's a thing, it seems like, the rich folks would have children, and a lot of times those kids stayed really, really clean when they were young. And, the rich folks were like, I'm not going to let my kid go out and play in the dirt and the muck, catch some disease and die. So they didn't play outside as much as the poor kids. Poor kids be into everything out there. And they're out there playing with garbage. And as the parents were working pretty hard just to keep the family fed and stuff, they couldn't even have time to pay attention to the kids that much to keep them out of the garbage. But all those poor kids out there playing around in the garbage, hardly any of them ever got allergies or asthma or anything like that. And the rich kids that stayed inside all day and had their noses in books all the time and never ate any dirt or got dirt underneath their fingernails, never ever touched anything quote unquote dirty, they ended up with all kinds of weird health problems. And there's even a thing that eventually the zookeepers realized about animal husbandry in zoos and keeping these animals alive that come from across the planet. And what they eventually learned is that if you're going to keep an animal healthy, you need to bring the whole environment that animal lives in with it. You can't just bring, I had one hit me right in the lip. You can't just bring the animal. You got to bring basically everything that animal encounters in its native habitat with it, because otherwise the animal in question is just going to suffer and die slowly. So essentially you could say you got to bring the dirt along with the critter. So this next one here, what we want to do, we got this one coming over. So I think on this one we'll leave it on the top again. Yeah, and the other thing that really kind of bumps me out personally, I mean, just seeing all these people getting obese kind of makes me sad, because I don't know, you just see more and more of it, and you're just like, oh man, all these poor people. I can't imagine what it's like to be carrying around 200 extra pounds. That's, for me, I don't think if I couldn't take the stairs 3 at a time, I'd be really sad about that. I don't know why, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of bounding up a stairway and skipping stairs. And I see how some of these people struggled. I drove a taxi for a few years because I thought that would be a good way to make money while I'm making my trees. But eventually I had to quit because, oh man, you see a lot of sadness when you drive taxi. And a lot of heavy folks take taxis. But how it affects me personally is I can't find any clothes that fit anymore. I'm a 30-30. I got a 30-inch waist and about a 30-inch inseam. And for a long time I had been buying a lot of my pants from the used clothing stores. Number one, because I'm really hard on clothing. I tend to wreck it pretty quick, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend a lot of money on it, and I'm not a fashion hound. I just want stuff to be comfortable and cheap. And I used to, a long time ago, hey, no problem, I go to the used clothing store, there's all kinds of pants that fit me. But now there's none. I mean, like, there's just none. And so I go to the store to find some new pants that are going to fit me. Maybe it's because where I live here in Wisconsin, there's a lot of overweight people. It's just not economically viable for the stores to carry my size. And so there's none in the adult section, because apparently there's no adults with 30-inch waists. And so I go to the kids section, because I figure, yeah, man, you know, maybe there's some pants that fit me over there. But all the pants over there that are 30-inch waist, they're 28-inch inseam. So it's I think I'm gonna have to start ordering my clothes online or something. I mean, even in the outdoor stores, you know, the adventure type camping type clothing store, I figured, you know, maybe because those type of people tend to be thinner because they're out running around in the woods all day, maybe I'll find some clothes that fit me there. But no, not even there. I even asked the guy, what's the deal? How come there's no clothes in my size here? And he's like, well, that's because there's nobody your size anymore. What's a guy to do? Do I have to start making my own clothes? Aye. But I looked online and they have my size online, so it's just not in the stores. Oh boy, it's been a while. I can feel the glasses getting hot. But you can see now this one over here, it looks like I can just kind of do what's there. And it'll look okay. Mark, you had a question on, you know, wrapping the outside wires around the inside ones. And although it might seem from these videos that these wires in here are straight, they're not straight way deep inside. It's kind of important to give the wires a little bit of a twist on the inside, because it just helps when you're pulling your other branches. I mean, I don't twist them up right away, but you know, I kind of leave them straight. But when I go back and let's say I'm going to pull a branch from here and I blow this all up, I'll leave them kind of straight. I won't twist them up before I pull the branch, but after I pull that split, I will twist them up a little bit. And maybe I should show you that in some of the next video, because it looks like I'm all the way around here. I suppose we could try and show you guys what I got going on. Whoops. Careful, careful. Yeah, these two look kind of similar. But you can't have everything be different. Sorry for all the clickiness. See that one? I need to get that root down a little bit more. But once I have at least the first part of the pattern started, you know, I can do a little bit of fine tuning. As a matter of fact, I could just do that right now. Might as well do it as long as I'm here noticing. Well, I'm mad at it. It really looks like I should probably do something with this. That's really ugly. I might leave that for later. It doesn't have to be done right now. So the next thing I need to do is decide where I'm going to make my next split. And, whoa. Yeah, I keep hooking the glasses on this stuff because my head's right up in there. It's funny, my hair gets caught in those leaf clusters too a lot of the time. I end up yanking my hair out. Well, I'm going to put my regular glasses back on and sit and stare at this for a while because nothing's popping out immediately what I want to do next. Hope everybody's having a good time. Talk to you soon.